Now from Code 3, the Firefighters Podcast, it's the Code 3 Holiday Theater. Here's your host, Scott Orr.
Welcome to the Code 3 Holiday Theater. Since it is the holiday season, I thought I'd better get you something nice for Christmas. So I thought about it, and I got you the gift of nostalgia. It's cheap, too. I asked some friends from Central Arizona Fire and Medical Authority to help me out. So I got Chief Scott Freitag, Battalion Chief Brad Davis, and probie firefighter Kayleen Weiland together. The four of us sat down and watched an episode of the 1970s TV show, Emergency, a personal favorite of mine. Now, Brad was a fan of the show as a kid like me, but he even grew up in Los Angeles. Scott, of course, is familiar with the show too. But Kayleen was born about 20 years after the show's initial run. So I thought it would be fun to get her reaction and their reactions. The episode we watched is Season 3's The Mouse. Here we go.
What's one thing you notice right off the bat, Kayleen?
Marco, why don't you move your finger up just a little bit more? There, that's good right there.
PPE?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no gloves on.
None.
Mike, we'll probably use a pressure dressing on that.
Yeah, okay. Roy, I think his femur's fractured.
Well, better put traction on it. Can you get that traction splinter ready? Come on, Roy.
This guy.
Yeah, I'm surprised traction splints haven't changed.
Okay, Marco.
Still the same.
Yeah,
We'll
I
probably
guess it works.
And Los Angeles might still be like that, wearing they probably call it a Class B, but wearing badges. Growing up as a kid, seeing them in the grocery store, they always had a badge shirt on.
Huh.
So that engine right there, that is right around the same exact year range as the parade engine. Same brand, same type.
And now you're about to see the worst opening in the history of television. This is just awful.
My sister and I, Scott, growing up, would get in front of the TV and imitate the different people as they show them in the intro here, showing in the intro.
I saw when I was in San Diego for Firehouse magazine conference, they had the rescue from this show there.
Yes.
Kind of cool to see.
I saw that in Vegas at a fire rescue conference.
Vampire, we've defibrillated victim eastern sinus rhythm.
Administer 2 amps sodium bicarbonate. Insert an airway.
See that? See how we flipped the caps on the syringe and the medicine? That's a famous thing too. I've actually ridden in with patients in the back of the ambulance and looked at my ambulance, whoever's on the ambulance, and flipped the caps on the medicine like that. But at some point in my career, it reached a point that people didn't know what I was doing. Earlier in my career, people knew right away I was impersonating emergency. But then as I got further in, people were like, what's that supposed to mean when I would flip the caps off the medicine and then smile?
Get him out of here! Get him out!
I hesitate to say these plots are ripped from the headlines, but that was back in the time when people all thought putting bars on their houses would save them from the horrible burglar.
You put those bars up there a couple of weeks ago. Nobody's getting in here, he said.
Did you notice he called for the asbestos blanket?
Yeah, that's
I didn't catch that.
I don't think that would be
probably-
appropriate.
That's probably not the best way to go now that we know what we know.
And no helmet. We noted too that they're not wearing turnout pants or bunker pants. They're wearing like day uniform pants with their upper body protected and no hoods.
They don't even have the full-length rubber boots on.
Yeah.
At the conference I went to in Vegas several years ago, I was there with Chief Polachek, and they had the truck there. They had all the equipment from the cabinets. Randolph Mantooth was there signing autographs. It was pretty neat. I've got some stuff at home signed by him in my office.
He's been a big supporter of fire and EMS ever since the show.
Now the directed rescue here with no SCBAs is interesting.
No SCBAs, no helmets, but on the way to the call they had helmets on.
Well, and they actually put them on when they get a call. If they're just driving back to the station or for lunch or whatever, they don't wear their helmets.
Huh.
But at that point, I guess they thought it was safer in case of an accident.
Don't get any ideas, Chief.
No. I think they thought it made good TV. Kayleen, just remember, if I see you employing any of this on the fire ground, we're going to have a conversation.
Come on.
I'll get the equipment. We got it knocked down, Cap. How's it?
Have a bulky oxygen tank set up there, huh?
Rampart to SWAT 51.
Brad, you rode on open cab trucks, didn't you?
And the Ward LaFrance, that's our parade engine now, was the first out reserve engine. When I got on, I actually had to act as engineer a few times on that engine.
Well, I'll give you a little spoiler. When we get later into this episode, they have several full open cab engines that they were using at the time. And there are some that just look ancient. I mean, really old.
Crown is an engine that there was a lot of them in LA, and I think the open cabs were Crowns where it just had a windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We had one at the station closest to my house. But that's within the same year range as the parade truck, that Ward LaFrance there.
Yep.
We got a smoke inhalation victim over here.
Now, it's kind of funny in the pilot show, Johnny says when they want him to become a paramedic, I don't want to be an ambulance attendant, which is what those guys are. But of course, it turned out that paramedics did a lot more than that, and these guys were just drivers.
In the St. Louis area, you couldn't get hired at 90+% of the agencies unless you were a paramedic. When I got into the service, I had my grandfather called St. Louis City because my great-grandfather had worked there, and they told him unless he's a medic, he won't get hired. So I went to paramedic school first.
We were discussing earlier, Chief, how this was like this actually at the same time of them actually starting that paramedic program in LA County, and the first season deals with what they went through to go through training and try to implement the program and the resistance they got to having paramedics on the fire truck.
Right. Kayleen, when did you say you were going to paramedic school?
Next month.
Perfect.
Really?
Excellent.
Good.
Well, if you ever ride in the back of the ambulance with an older guy, you can flip the caps on the syringe and the medicine, and you'll probably get a laugh out of him.
Or he'll say, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Okay, you take care of yourselves, and I'll check in on you later, okay?
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
So all the emergency department staff wears white, although Dr. Morton wears a short sleeve, sort of a tunic instead of scrubs or whatever.
If a nurse at Yavapai Regional walked into the ER wearing one of those caps, do you think people would laugh at her?
Yes.
I think the patients would say, I want a real nurse.
How are you feeling?
Like I've been chain smoking rubber bands.
Yeah, that should go away before long. I just want to make sure there's no other complications. Anything else bothering you?
Just the fact that my house is a pile of charcoal.
Well, the way I figure it, the important thing is you're still alive.
But you don't even know me. I might be a real jerk.
So what do you want me to do? Throw you back in the fire? I wouldn't want to see all that hard work those firemen do go to waste.
Yeah, those firemen, they're okay. You're okay too, Doc. I didn't know there were so many nice people around.
Heck of a way to find out, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the truth. But you know, it's still good to know.
Yeah, you just take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that truck is still just as pristine. They've kept it's in their fire museum, and it's still looks just as shiny and clean as it did on the show, and still runs.
How's it going? Pretty good. I think it's gonna be okay. How's this house?
Really badly gutted, man. A lot of neighbors over there trying to see what they can do to help.
That's pretty nice of them.
Hey, you're cooking today, aren't you?
Oh, that's right. Stew.
And their first thought when they go back, what's for dinner?
Well, see, the show is realistic in some areas.
It is. Yeah. Aren't you cooking today? Shouldn't you be inside instead of talking to me?
Can't we eat lunch first?
Yeah, I guess you wouldn't mind. Let's do it.
Out of sight. Which one of you is leading? That's very nice, right?
Hey, look! The refrigerator? I think we've all seen the refrigerator before, Chet. Thanks anyway for bringing it to our attention.
Well, didn't anybody else see him? He just ran onto the refrigerator.
No, I'll take a poll. Did anybody see the... John, don't take a poll. Let's take Chet's word for it, shall we? Good idea, Cap.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Put a name, maybe?
Oh, come on, man. We can't let a mouse run around our station. Word gets out, our reputation stinks.
What do you recommend, Chet?
Well, we got to get rid of it, right?
Right, you're in charge.
We got to kill him.
What do you mean we? Not we, you. Butcher.
Guys, you don't understand. These things are like rabbits, man. Once they start hitting the sack.
Squad 51, engine 36. Man unconscious at the laundromat. Westwood and Wilshire. Westwood and Wilshire. Time up 13:18.
Squad 51, KMG 365.
And the captain nicely writes it down for him, hands it to him in the window so they don't have to.
Yeah. No computers in the truck. They can't get out their iPhone and route themselves on their cell phones.
Yeah, I definitely did that yesterday on the way to a fire.
You know, I have seen that rescue unit also, and when I sat down inside of it, what I thought was, there's nothing in here.
We were giving him CPR and he started breathing again.
Judges?
Super.
What you guys doing?
I had to tell Caden that the other night. Caden was responding the water tender to that fire in Humboldt, and he was asking me for routing. I actually got on the radio and said, why don't you pull over, pull it up on your phone, because it wasn't that urgent that he got there right now.
Yeah.
But we didn't have that back then several years ago to be able to do that.
So you've got smelling salts here. The guy's waking up from that.
Do you still carry that thing?
I don't think so.
I haven't been on a rig for a long time, but I know when I first started, we still had that.
I remember that at some point very early on, getting introduced to that. But it's been years and years since that's been around.
Belts down at the corner bar. I was, killing time, waiting for my wash.
How old are you?
33. I'll be 34 next month.
Okay. You on any kind of medication or drugs?
No, nothing unusual.
Okay, we're gonna give a call in the hospital there and check you out, all right?
Rampart, this is Squad 51. How do you read me?
Go ahead, 51.
It's 33. Rampart, we have a male, 33 years old. He was found unconscious on the sidewalk. He has been drinking. The vital signs are BP 120/84. The pulse?
Pulse is 70, respiration is 10.
The pulse is 70, respiration is 10.
51, tell him to go home and sleep it off.
Can doctors actually say that nowadays? So go home,
I
sleep
think
it off.
that would probably be a liability nowadays.
The diagnosis is incorrect, but we'd like to bring him in anyway.
Okay, 51, transport non-code R.
Import non-code R.
I'll go in with him.
Go no siren, all right? Take it into Rampart?
Yeah. Just give me that stethoscope there. Nice.
No IV started, nothing. Just throw him on the stretcher. It's all good.
Yeah, and don't respond back, Code 3, because he's probably fine.
Since these days we have a lot of protocols, standing orders from the hospital as to what paramedics can do. Back when they first started, you didn't have that. The hospitals weren't as trusting of the paramedics. But today we have such a good relationship and work with them often enough that there's a lot we can do in the field before we have to patch.
Yeah, on the show they're asking permission for pretty much everything that they do.
Yeah, I think they did ask permission for everything. And a lot of times they started precautionary IVs just to keep it open and no drugs.
What caused you to pass out?
Got something, Al?
Huh?
I don't feel so good right now.
Well, tell me exactly what you feel, all right? Harold? He's in full arrest.
Got him.
Got him in full arrest. Hit the reds and notify Rampart.
Dispatching, this is Unit 3. Notify Rampart emergency. Victim has arrested. ETA is 5 minutes.
That sucks. The guy that the hospital wanted to sleep it off just coded on him.
Yep. And so now he has a bag valve mask.
Those compressions are slightly substandard.
You could call him that.
Do they even have him hooked up to a monitor? I see no IV.
Look, I'll be okay. I just had a couple of snorts.
All right. Okay, lie back.
Huh?
Lie back.
Okay.
I don't know.
Team set up before.
all right. Hey, I wish you'd quit doing that. Hey, what's going on here?
This is your full arrest?
Oh, my name is Harold. What's yours?
All right, what's the matter? What happened? That's what I want to know.
Well, he arrested me now. Now he's come back again.
Did you scope him?
Well, I didn't have time.
Carolyn, go ahead and release the team. Tell you what, why don't we just take him into the room and let's find out what's really happened here. Harold?
Doctor's not very friendly.
Harold, is that safe? Let's go. I'm telling you, it keeps going out and coming back in again.
Stick around. Get best right. Keep him ventilated. John, check his feet for needle mark crabs.
Hey, my feet are cold. Hey.
Mister, now you've almost died 3 times in the last half hour, and I sure want to know why.
I wish I could help you, Doc.
Are you on any medication?
Nothing unusual.
Any medication at all?
I take pills for my asthma, but you know, I take them all the time.
What's the name of it?
Its name is, I don't know the name, Doc. Hey, I got some in my pocket. That's it. I had to take some extra today because I've been wheezing.
Aminophylline with amobarbital.
Downers and alcohol.
Respiratory arrest.
Hey, Doc, can I go now? I gotta put my wash in the dryer.
That hasn't changed. The patients haven't changed much.
That is actually LA County Fire Department Station 127. Still there, still in use. Remember the stew?
He was really something else, wasn't he? Yeah, I'm glad we could finally convince him that his wash could wait. We got to shrink the little cap.
There's their map on the wall to see where they're going before they jump on the truck and leave.
What the devil is that? I found these in the storage area.
That's how I used to run. Look at the big map on the wall.
And figure
Before
out
you
where
leave.
you're going before you leave. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Just because he saw Herbert first doesn't mean he ought to have the entire responsibility.
That's right. So the captain decided we're gonna draw matches for it. Short one gets the job. You're a good man, Cap.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. Cap, I don't think that's entirely fair. I think it is Chet's responsibility.
Are you saying you do not trust your captain's judgment?
Oh, no, sir. I'm not saying that at all. I'll...
Good. Now, who wants to draw first?
Hey, wait a minute.
Ball didn't roll too far, did it?
Hey, this is impossible.
Chet, are you questioning the Cap's integrity?
Yeah, look, what's your complaint?
Well, I just think I need help.
Oh, from somebody who's dispassionate, huh?
Right.
How about him?
Okay. Can somebody help me? Just hold this thing down?
Don't look at me.
Here, I'll do it. Oh, right. Yeah, just hold it right there.
Right here?
Yeah. Okay. Nice one.
See, now Roy is nicer than your average firefighter because a lot of them I know would have gone, oops, I let go, sorry.
Mousetraps haven't changed.
No, they haven't.
Other than they have those easy-to-use plastic ones that I use at home now, but...
Looks like you got Chet's blood on your hands, too.
Well, I don't mind. You know, I think I'll transfer to another station. One with a little class.
Don't do that. You're such an asset here.
Yeah, no, and you got such clever hands.
Okay, here we go.
I think he said asset because it was on TV.
You guys are satisfied.
I didn't notice. Did they put cheese on the trap, or did they use peanut butter?
Cheese.
Oh, peanut butter's way better.
Yep.
Peanut butter keeps them there longer, gets their head further in. snap him right at the neck.
Joe, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Okay, dear.
Hurry. Please hurry. Hurry, Joe, I can't breathe.
All right, now. I'll help you. Come on. Take it easy.
Hurry, Joe. I can't.
This is not uncommon, having, older folks that will just drive themselves to the hospital who are in severe distress. I remember one call in particular, we took a lady to the hospital, we were at the hospital. Our lady's husband brought her in, and then he coded while he was signing her in.
Oh my!
The guys occasionally go on calls that the person's gone when they get there, and they just jumped in the car and went. So they have all kinds of stuff still that just shows up at the doorstep of the ER.
Apparently, there was one in Prescott last night where a mother was just panic-stricken because I guess her child may have stopped breathing. I didn't hear what it was. Police and fire chased her to the hospital, but she was driving as fast as she could, and she got there first.
Dixie, the charge nurse, was actually married to one of them in real life, right?
Yeah, Bobby Troop.
Was it Bobby Troop?
Yep.
Yeah. That's the doctor there with the gray hair. Real dramatic music going into the commercial.
And from these scenes, we learned that everything can be fixed with a strong cup of coffee and a little talk. I mean, this show must have kept the coffee companies in business. They drank so much.
No, I only drink coffee at home.
Coffee is still a staple in the fire service today, but now it's all different kinds of flavors and places.
Well, ours is pretty good. Sure you want to try one?
No, thank you. When will we know about Martha? Could you go check on her?
The doctors will let us know as soon as there's any news.
I think she's gonna die. Always thought I'd be the first to go, but she's been so sickly lately. Always thought I'd be the first to go. I don't like this way very well.
How long have you been together?
48 years.
Kids?
The only problem I have with this scene is these days emergency room nurses have no time for this.
No way.
Mom's gonna die, isn't she? Please tell me the truth.
We don't know yet.
I couldn't live without that woman. I just couldn't.
Mr. Wilson, what if it were the other way around? What do you think Martha would do if something happened to you? Just fold up and quit?
Not her. At least, she'd better not.
She's got those kids and grandchildren to look after, right?
Right.
Dixie,
what's your name?
Dixie.
It's true. Sometimes it was with the patients, sometimes it was with the firefighters, sometimes the doctors, but she always knew the right thing to say, and she always had time to say it too.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Wilson, I think she'd be awfully disappointed in you. Throwing 48 years out the window like that.
And a little tough love.
Keep all those wonderful memories safe.
Look how nice her hair's done, her makeup, her eyelashes.
There are some wonderful memories, all right.
And I'm sure there's still a couple of things you'd like to pass on to your grandchildren.
Yeah. Maybe one or two.
You know, watching this episode, Scott shows me that we had a way different attention span back in the 70s than we do today.
Well, a friend of mine who is a big fan pointed out there is a lot of driving in this show. I mean, they come out of the house, they go down one street, down another street, down another street, and then they arrive. They can take 3, 4, 5 minutes sometimes.
Yeah. If you watch TV today, everything has to happen in rapid succession or you're going to lose your audience.
Much like this podcast.
Yeah.
How's she doing?
The EKG shows sinus tach and R prime and V1. Looks like a pulmonary embolism instead of a heart attack. Let's start her on IV heparin therapy. I'll draw blood for arterial blood gases. Dix, you get a sample for CBC, electrolytes, and fibrin split products.
All right, Cal. She gonna make it, Joe?
Next few hours are going to be critical, but she's hanging in there.
What would happen if he looked at her and said no?
Yeah. She's still awake and alert. No,
Yeah.
don't think she's going to live, but hey.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. We'll see. She didn't hear that, did she?
Squad 51, man injured at the bar. 309 Angela Swade.
Squad 51, man injured at the bar. So calls are still similar.
Yeah, very much so.
Scott, I was telling Kayleen earlier, and we talked about this, the podcast we did a few months ago.
Yeah.
That the two things that drove me to do this job was, one was my uncle's best friend being a captain at LA County, growing up as a kid and visiting him at the station and doing that, and the other was this show. Honestly, as goofy as that sounds, as a kid growing up watching this had a huge impact, and if the fire service wasn't going to work out for me, then I was going to go the CHP route and be a highway patrolman like Ponch and John.
Yep.
That was the backup plan. But I'm glad the fire service plan worked out. I actually told I know, again, it sounds goofy, but I actually told Randolph Mantooth that when I chatted with him and got his autograph and stuff. I said, honestly, your show and you guys had a huge impact on me, doing what I do.
You guys got here sooner than I expected. Why don't you come back in about 5 or 10 minutes?
Oh, they forgot to tell him it was an assault in progress.
I guess the scene was not code 4 before they...
I've been to those before.
They're gonna need some help when this is over.
Well, what are they fighting about?
Who knows? I guess they got on each other's nerves.
Call the police?
Yeah, they come here all the time.
Hang on now, hold on. Hey, are you okay? Hey, let me take a look at that eye. You all right?
Whoa, he's pretty tough, ain't he?
Excuse me a minute. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Just wondering what the heck I'm doing here. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, cut that out.
How come?
Oh, you're gonna hurt him.
He hurt me. What's going on? A couple of clowns don't think we should be fighting. Oh, yeah? Beat it.
Well, we just feel that it's kind of unnecessary to be punching yourselves around like that.
Who asked you to come here anyway?
He did.
We don't like interruptions. He's right, we don't.
Well, we just don't want you guys to cut yourself up any more than you already have.
We won't.
Roy, John.
Hey, Vince, how you doing?
Hi, Vince.
Hello, Pete. What seems to be the trouble?
Oh, well, we just saw these gentlemen here, and we thought maybe they might need medical attention. We just thought we'd look at it.
What kind of helmet is that cop wearing?
Seems reasonable enough to me. Right, Pete?
A riot helmet? I'm not really sure.
Gentlemen, how are yours?
Which one of those guys do you want to treat first?
Well, I think I'll take Pete. I seem to know him better.
I got a sore tooth right there.
Right where? Right there? Okay, please hang on.
Now let's have a look at it.
You know, calls like that have changed today in that we don't go in unless the police have secured the scene, but you still get calls where the caller isn't giving you all of the information and you walk into something that you had no idea was occurring.
Yep, everything's based on what that person tells them on the phone, and information's lacking sometimes with what they're telling them, and what we get there and find is much different
yes,
than what they told the dispatcher.
Yeah. The open bunk rooms.
If one member of your crew snored, you're all staying awake all night.
I'd bring a fan to work.
Yeah, I know that's what the guys out at 61 do with the shared bunk room. They all have fans. So when I go to other stations where I have my own bedroom, it is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. At one point at Station 53, we used to run 2 engines out of 53 when it was still a common bunk room that was just separated by lockers. And apparently Chief Tharp and I had a conversation in our sleep in the middle of the night that the guys told us about in the morning.
Oh, that's always
we were
weird.
Talking in our sleep type of people. Yeah.
See, for us, when we'd be on the ambulance, there's times where I'd be out most of the day. We wouldn't get back to quarters till 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, my gosh.
And they would have short-sheeted our beds, moved the mattresses to other rooms, and hit them on us. Some of those times, though, you're so tired, you just walk in and collapse on the bed and don't worry about it.
LA testing with stations 36, 45, 127, 106, 51.
Station 51, KMG 365.
Oh, and bunkers were kept by the bed too, which was actually quite a few years into my career. You kept your bunkers by your bed, and now with the contaminants that are coming in and out of the station with bunker pants, those no longer are kept by people's beds. But that was for a lot of my career that we did that.
And now for cancer reasons we don't, but notice they kept them by their beds. Maybe that's why they didn't have mom when they went into that structure fire. They just didn't have their bunker pants with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just wear them in the morning when they get up.
Now, you guys wear your blue t-shirts when you sleep, right? Because these guys just wore white shirts, and some of them, can just throw their coat on over it, and that's how they're going out.
And that's it. I just don't think that you can do anything right.
It's gonna go on your record there, Kelly.
There he goes.
We wouldn't be so friendly.
Yeah, no, I'm not just watching
a
it.
mouse running around in the fire station.
No, they don't. Generally, mice don't leave the premises. Oh, you don't want me here? Okay, I'll leave now.
That little bum ever comes back here, he's had it.
Station 51, truck 82, engine 28, engine 11, battalion 14. Plane crash into a structure. 1145 Delmar Drive. 1145 Delmar Drive.
They turn their sirens on just a hair early.
A little bit, but you need that something to liven it up.
If you watch enough of this and then you see video of a rig leaving the station, it looks weird because there's no sound until they get out in the street, you know?
Yeah.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. Hi. Did you get some rest last night?
Well, especially now when we're in more residential areas, we try to be a little considerate of our neighbors.
You're gonna have to take her home real soon.
She's doing better? Oh, she's a great old gal.
Not so bad yourself.
Is she hitting on him?
I think so.
He's right on the tail of that rescue truck.
Battalion 14, Engine 51. Be advised, the tower reports it as the jet fighter. The crew has bailed out.
Engine 51.
That's pretty serious, I guess, huh?
As far as I know, they still use wooden ladders in Los Angeles. It's a traditional thing, and they're still using wood ladders.
Right. Heard those things are heavy.
At least they already had their bunker pants on for this one.
Yeah. Hose look different on the supply line.
A little smaller.
Yep. Dual, probably 3-inch supply.
The building doesn't look too bad for getting hit by a jet. And all the people are standing calmly across the street instead of screaming, yelling, jumping up and down, and pointing.
and taking video with their phones.
Yeah.
Look at the size of those portable radios they used.
Okay, I got 3 lines on the second floor with my crew. Why don't you take 1 line up there and assist them and take another line to the 3rd floor?
Fuel tanks are leaking. If they blow before we get it knocked down, this whole building is gonna go.
Now, if you'd have all your units work that end, we'll concentrate on this end, all right?
Back in the day, they didn't have portable radios for everybody either. In fact, when I got on here, the firefighters, some of them didn't have. We didn't have a radio for every guy on the truck.
Did you notice they're using water on the jet engine to try to put the fire out?
Oh, yeah.
How about that fire truck?
Take a look at that.
Hey, look, it's our Seagraves.
That was a frontline
like
engine
ours.
back then.
It's very similar to our Seagraves.
I didn't ride on one of those when I got started, but like Brad, I was on the open cab. Difference was I was in Missouri where it would get down to 0 in snowstorms or torrential rains.
Yeah, those trucks seem cool until the cold or the rain.
Yeah.
I remember hugging that engine cowling pretty tight to stay warm on the way back to the station during the winter.
Well, in monsoon season out here, that open cab, you're not gonna stay dry.
No way. He's in sideways. No SCBA again.
Well, back in the 70s, they didn't think they needed them too much.
That's a cool one.
Looks like a squirt. Like one of those little toy fire trucks. Oh, ride the ladder before it's extended.
Notice there was no pipe on the ladder.
Yeah.
The hose was laid up on top of the ladder.
What's he spraying the ladder at, Brad? Kayleen, did you see anything he was aiming at?
No.
Look at that, no smoke right there.
Yeah.
Just flames.
When they're crawling past the fire. That way they're sure to get trapped on both sides.
Yeah, hose line's not charged.
Is that an external fuel tank?
Well, it looks like.
Fortunately, it only crashed through the door, so there's no structural damage.
It went perfectly through the doorway.
That also kept it from developing an immediate leak, so it can leak when we need it to leak.
He's like, get out of my way. He's like pushing that guy out of the way.
Hold on, man!
Get me out! No, please! Oh, get me out of here! Please!
All right.
Please!
Come on, relax. You're gonna be all right. We're gonna get hurt or something. Why don't you take that line? All right. We're gonna put this over you. Come on. Get out of there, Scott!
The guys aren't coughing yet, and they're taking in a lot of smoke.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Oh, wow.
That was kind of cool looking, but I think the one guy was injured. Yep.
Yeah.
Stop, drop, and roll, buddy.
Come on, let's get out of here. Johnny, you all right?
Fortunately, the big explosion didn't cause any damage to the apartment, and the guy that was on fire, he's perfectly fine.
Once you put him out, yeah, he's good.
His gear's not damaged, his hair's not singed. Pretty fortunate there wasn't more damage from a jet.
It was a small jet.
Okay. Wasn't carrying a lot of fuel.
There's almost water in there, huh? Yeah.
And you left me.
In your place? Yeah. I'd have probably thrown both of you over my shoulder and just blew the flames out in front of me.
Johnny McCullough.
Hey,
Hey, I just came over to see if you were okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. Listen, I want to thank you. You probably saved my life.
Yeah, you know, I didn't realize you were at the county till I got you out.
Oh, well, sorry about that. I'll try harder next time.
Sure thing.
Hey, thanks a lot.
All right.
Didn't know you were with the county, so little.
Pasadena guys, they're okay. I mean, they're all right. They dress kind of funny though, but they're okay. Come on, let's go.
Oh, that's still pretty common today, isn't it?
You never throw.
Not that they dress funny, but the camaraderie and the competition between agencies.
camaraderie is awesome. We had Prescott Engine 75 was on our call on Cedar Springs the other day with us, and the guys were fantastic. There was a lot of labor involved with that call, pulling ceiling and insulation, and they stayed all the way to the end, and everybody worked great together.
So, now that we've gone through it, what do you think, Kayleen?
The biggest thing I can't get past is no air bottles when they're going into that. That is just insane to me. There's no way they could do that.
Brad?
I would agree. That and no PPE on the medical calls.
Well, there you have it. A couple of veterans and a probie watching how it used to be done. At least the Hollywood version of how it used to be done. And having a pretty darn good time. That's our gift to you this Christmas. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. I'm Scott Orr, and I'll be back for the next edition of Code 3. Join me then, and Merry Christmas.
If you enjoyed Code 3's Holiday Theater, join us for 2 editions of the Code 3 podcast every week. Just go to code3podcast.com to hear the latest edition.